What is going on, family? I am back with another video. Back in my spot. This is my spot. This is kind of like where I like to film, at least for the time being, until I move. For those of you who don't know, I am moving to Arizona. If you haven't seen the video that I uploaded a couple of video cycles ago, it was called I Am Moving to Arizona. And I made the announcement that I am moving from one side of the country to the other. I am moving from South Carolina to Arizona, and I am taking my car. I'm doing a cross-country road trip, and I cannot fucking wait. I've wanted to do a cross-country road trip for fucking ever, and I have always talked myself out of it. I have always found an excuse. I have always found a reason not to move to the West Coast. I want to live on the West Coast for a while. I'm not saying that I'm going to settle there or move there permanently. I don't know where I'm going to move if or when I decide to settle somewhere again. I have spent most of my life, in fact, pretty much my entire life, trying to live up to other people's expectations. I can think of a lot of instances in my life where I have dimmed my own light in an effort to make other people more comfortable. And I'm done with that. I've decided that I'm not going to do that anymore. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired, frankly. Every career pursuit, with the exception of this one that I'm doing right now, which is making a YouTube video, and the exception of me making my music, everything else that I've ever pursued, that I've ever tried, was because somebody else told me that it would be a good idea for me to do that. And because I didn't really know what I wanted or who I was as a person. So I just took other people's suggestions and ran with it because I didn't have a life of my own. And I have felt that way for a long time, like I don't have a life of my own. And it's kind of making me crazy. You know, it has made me go insane. It's made me turn to substance abuse to try to escape my reality. It's caused me to act out of character, you know, and do things that kind of go against my morals and ethics, and just, it's almost made me become this other person that I don't even recognize. And I'm tired of living that way. You know, if I'm going to make a major decision in my life, I want it to be because it's something that I wanted to do, not because it's something that somebody else suggested or that they think is good for me. You know, I think in life, you effectively have two choices. You can either do what other people think is right, or you can do your own thing and do what makes you happy. I will never, ever come on here and try to parade around and tell other people what I think they should do with their own life. Ever. Ever. Do what you want to do. It's your fucking life. If you don't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life, you don't have to. If you don't want to buy a house, you don't have to. If you don't want to get married right away or ever, you don't have to. If you don't want to have kids in your 20s or ever, you don't have to. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. Everything is a choice. Everything is voluntary. Even if your family, like, I know that there are some young people who watch my videos. Not a lot. I think my audience is like 18% of my viewers are men between the ages of like 18 to 24. And then most of my audience, I think it's like 35 to 40%, is men between the ages of 25 to 35. That's like my main demographic. But some of you guys are a lot younger. And y'all have got parents that are breathing down your neck telling you, you know, if you're 18, 19, that you need to go to school. You need to go to school. You need to take yourself to school. You need to get a good career. And the pressure of being somebody is a lot. It's a lot of pressure. You know, some people, there are a lot of people in this world who just want to exist. You know, I want to travel. That's what I want to do. That's not the only thing I want to do. I also want to make music, and I also want to continue to do this. But one of the things that I want to do is travel around, you know, and I want to eventually buy either like a travel van or an RV and just kind of see some shit and live out of that for a little while, for a year or 2 or 3 or 5, you know, however long, and then, you know, eventually settle into a place, but that may never happen. I might just decide, you know what? I like this traveling lifestyle and I'm going to do it forever. Or I may decide that I want to get my own place and settle into a town and have a family. That may happen one day. You know, I have gotten to a place in my life at 27 years old where I've realized that, like, things never really go according to plan. I don't make long-term plans anymore. You know, I don't say to myself, oh, at 30, I'm going to have this. I'm going to live in this place, in this city, and I'm going to have this family, and I'm going to be in this career, and I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to go to these places. And I don't do that anymore. Because one thing that I've realized about life as I've gotten older is that things never go according to plan. Ever. They don't go according to plan. As much as we try to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the outcome that I want, and I'm going to do this, 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 and this, so that this can happen, and this can happen, and this can happen, and this can happen. Life doesn't work that way. I'm not saying don't make goals, because I do think that setting goals gives you something to strive for, and, you know, life becomes a lot less voided, because when you're not moving towards something, you're just kind of going through the motions of life. I understand that. But a lot of people have this thing that they want to do with their life, and they're like, okay, this is what I want. This is the kind of life that I want for myself, and it has to be exactly the way that I want it. And it doesn't usually go that way, because life has a way of twisting and turning and moving us in a certain direction. You know, that there's a saying that, you know, sometimes we don't get what we think we want. You know, plans change, goals change, and I think that you need to be open to the possibility of maybe what I think I want isn't really what I want. Because when you're really young, when you're like 18 to 24, you think that, you know, there are certain things that you think you want, and then you get a little older and you realize, this wasn't what I really wanted. I know that happened for me. You know, when I was in school, when I was in, you know, middle school, high school, I always thought that I remember for a long time, I thought I wanted to be a school teacher. You know, I thought I wanted to be like an English teacher or a history teacher or something. And as I've gotten a little older, I realized that that is definitely not what I fucking wanted. But, you know, I thought I wanted to be a school teacher. I thought I wanted to be a journalist. I thought I wanted to be a voice actor. I thought I wanted, you know, I thought I wanted all sorts of things. But, you know, I thought I wanted to be a fucking phlebotomist. I can't picture myself drawing blood for a living. It's just not me. You know, I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist. There were all kinds of things that I thought I wanted. And one thing that I've realized is that as you get older, you realize that what you thought you wanted was never really what you wanted, and that's okay, because what's actually meant for you will eventually find you. And I've realized that above all else, I just want to travel and continue to make YouTube videos and continue to make my art and express myself freely and just kind of live in a flow state. You know, I, if you don't want to stay in a job that you hate for the rest of your life, you don't have to. You don't have to, and I certainly am not going to continue. Let me tell you something. Me being away from Coca-Cola, I already feel 10 times better. Knowing that I will never work for that company ever again. I mean, seriously, guys, that place was causing me anxiety. That place was causing me depression. Because it got to a point where I was working BMW hours. I was working like all day long. From like 6 in the morning until like 7 o'clock at night. And who wants to spend the majority of their life doing shit that they hate for people that they don't care about? That is not a good way to live your life. People think I'm crazy for not, people will say that I'm nuts for being a dreamer and for thinking outside of the box and not wanting to do something that I hate forever. What I think is crazy is spending the majority of your life doing shit that you don't want to do, wearing clothes that you don't want to wear, doing shit for people that you don't give a fuck about, just to appease other people and appease society's expectations. Meanwhile, you're dying on the inside. Like, who the fuck wants to live that way? No one. No one really wants to live that way, but I think that there are a lot of people in this world that are convinced that that's the only way. If you work for a corporation, you work for a company for 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours, however many hours you work, and you're okay where you are, and you don't have any desire to do anything else or go anywhere else or experience anything else, and you're just okay and happy, genuinely happy where you are, cool. But there's a lot of people that are doing that, and they're not happy. And if you're watching this video right now, and you're living that kind of life, and you're not happy, I gotta ask, why? I mean, yeah, when I get to Arizona, I'm going to be working a day job, and I'm going to be working a regular, at least for now, a regular, 40-hour-a-week work week. I'm going to be doing housekeeping, which is entry level, so they're going to train me and stuff. But, I'm still going to have a life outside of work. I'm going to be at the fucking Grand Canyon. So when I'm not working, I'm going to be doing this, which is what I love to do, just yap in front of the camera. And I'm going to be documenting my journey. I'm going to be doing vlogs, and I'm going to be interacting with you guys. I'm going to be making music. I'm going to release more. I just released a single, so it's right here on my main channel if you want to check it out. It's called Succubus. I'm going to go to Phoenix. I'm going to go to Tucson. I'm going to go to like every major city in Arizona and just explore and document my journey for you guys, because that's what I really want to do. And this is going to give me the opportunity to do that. And I'm doing this not because somebody talked me into it, not because somebody else thinks that this is what I should do. This is what I want to do. I really want to travel around and see a bunch of things. But when I first discovered that that was what I really wanted to do, was like be a digital nomad and travel around and just make music and make YouTube videos and, just explore this globe. When I discovered that that was what I really wanted to do, I looked at it objectively and I was like, I don't really have the money to do that. That was the one thing that was holding me back. I was like, I don't have the money to do this. But I found a way to do it. And that's another thing that I'm here to tell all of you, is that where there's a will, there's a way. So even if you think that there's no possible way that you can do what it is that you say you want to do, there's a way to do it. You can do it. You can. And it's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but like, when has anything worth doing in life ever been easy, simple? It breaks my heart when I go to the grocery store, especially. This is something that just occurred to me, dawned on me. Every time I walk into a Walmart, all I see are unhappy people. Unhappy people at the register, unhappy people at the produce section, unhappy people at the front desk, unhappy people. And they're doing something that they fucking hate every single day. And for what? For what? So that they can get a pension when they're 65, 70, 80 years old and then die? It's just, it's a trap. And a lot of people that are in it, they don't even realize it's a trap. You know? They're like, oh yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I got dental. I got health insurance. I got a parking spot. It's got my name on it. So? When I go to my grave, you know, when I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to look back at my life and be like, you know, I did something I hated my whole life, and I you know, spent a bunch of time being around people that I didn't want to be around, doing shit that I didn't want to do, wearing clothes that I didn't want to wear. But, you know, at least I had health insurance, and at least I had a parking spot with my name on it. I don't want to live like that, and you shouldn't want to live like that either. I tell you what, man, the number one thing, like, I worked in an office technically. When I worked at the Phoenix Center Detox, I spent all my time behind a computer mostly, fucking underneath a bunch of fluorescent lights, just dying, basically. It's no way to live. So basically, the gist of this video, fucking take some risks, man. Take the big risks, make the big moves, and do what you want to do with your life. Because you only get one. We're all gonna die at some point. And, you know, I want to be able to look back and say, man, I took some risks. I made some big moves, and I lived my life to the fullest. And I didn't listen to other people. I followed my own instincts and my own intuition, and I did what I thought was right. So, there you have it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you did not enjoy this video, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and kiss my ass, and eat it while you're at it. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace, love, and light. And go listen to my new single, you fucking idiots.